What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. I've got a 24-500 Exc-F. This is a bike that we've just completed through the Taco Moto build program. This bike's going to be headed up to Northern Nevada, where we've got a really cool guy who will be using this for all kinds of cross purposes. I think he's going to use it for some track days, do some dual sporting, some other enduro type riding. And this one is really cool. I'm really stoked with how it turned out. This one got some of the cool bits that we like to put on bikes. Also, a couple of things that this rider had spec'd out. We'll talk about how we do dyno engine break-in on our bikes in our build program and a couple other things. So up front, let's talk about the tires. This rider wanted to go with the MOTOs. This is a 9121. It's the MOTOs Tractionator. It's just a great tire. It's a really good all-around useful tire, and he's got moose balls inside of there. And notice that we weighted the wheels. We weight all our wheels every time, whether the rider's going to be doing any street or not. We balance all our wheels. STR carbon fiber front, disc rotor guard, and then the HRBs. This is the X Mud. These are great. These are fork graders, and they keep any mud or debris from packing up inside of the fork seals. And we've almost essentially eliminated fork seal issues since we've started using these a couple years ago. Taco Moto full rebuild on the suspension, so the forks and the shock are completely revalved and redone with our suspension program, in-house suspension shop. And then fork shrinks, we like to put those on the forks. It just gives it a really nice look. And then this bike has the Dingo. These are like fork guards. These are really strong. So if you're riding rocks and you have any worry about crashing and then doing any damage to your tubes, then you're going to want these Dingo guards. You can see they're hard plastic and they wrap. And then these are really for cosmetic purposes and just keep rock ding off. So here we've got a unique instance where we're using both on there. Up front, take a look at the headlight. That's a Ruby R7. And then we've got our Superflex. These are our turn signals. They have a white run light feature and a yellow turn signal, and then that yellow cascades out in signal mode, which is super awesome. The graphics kit, that was put together by the rider. He chose all of his colors and his logos on there. I think he did a really nice job. It looks pretty sharp. Up front, we've got highway dirt bikes for the bar guard system. And then this is the big bolt. This is tapped in. The bolt is tapped all the way through. Bulletproof on the levers here. And then we've got a Get ECU system, dual map mode functionality, Mako 360, Scott stabilizer. That's a Trailtech Voyager Pro. All of that is powered up here behind the headlight mask with our Taco Moto dual sport harness. And we have a special one that we use for the EXC bikes. So we have a full dual sport kit if you have a non-lighted bike, and then it's an auxiliary harness if it's a plated bike or a headlight bike, and that includes things like a trickle charger outlet down here, and then an engine ground. We all of our kits have engine grounds, and then that's all commanded by the head end here in the Airbox. And we've got a dedicated video specifically just to that system and what its features are and how it works. Just to hit some of the high points, molecule skid plate. We really like these because they mount nice. They're super light, very durable. That's something that you'll see on quite a few of our builds. Taco Moto oil filter, the static magnetic oil filter. And then we like to put a Dirt Tricks dome washer on all of our builds because this is a tool steel, has a much stronger life span than the mild rolled steel dome washer on the stock bikes. That will prevent countershaft oil seal leaks. Notice that the horn has been relocated. We moved the horn from in front of the radiators and put it down here on top of the engine case. The HRBs, these are the really slick magnetic swing arm guards. On the new generation bikes, the new platform, the swing arm is stiffer, but it's also thinner. And there are documented cases of riders who will puncture holes in their swing arm in the outer shell of it. And so we've just decided to put swing arm guard protectors on all our bikes all the time, and so far have done a lot of hard enduro in the States and in Baja, and yet to see any damage, although we have lots and lots of scratching on them and bangs on them, but we pulled them off and inspected them and no damage underneath. Dirt tricks on the rear sprocket, and then he upgraded to a gold DID chain. That's a 520 ERVT chain. Just the stock chain is an X-ring chain. That's also an X-ring. So that was just for aesthetic reasons and looks, and I think that was a good choice. Back on the rear, these are Warp 9 Elite wheels. So these are the stiffer, tougher, more durable rear wheels. Front and rear wheel are both the same. These have oversized stainless steel spokes and then stainless steel nipples, and that is a major upgrade. If you have owned any of the KTM products with their wheel sets, you know that you have standard side spokes and then aluminum nipples, and I've already lost a couple of spokes on my 501, and so I'm going to be upgrading to the Warp 9 Elite wheels. These are not the Cush drive hubs. These are standard, and that's mainly for weight savings. Those do weigh a little more. They dampen the torque shock for throttle on and throttle off, so it adds some nice comfort, but it also adds weight. So looking at the rear end here a little bit, we've got the Tacomoto Tidy Tail, and then that's a standard plate mount. That's a rigid mount. There are a couple of different options that offer some flexibility, like the Flex Plate from Moto Minded, or there's a hinged plate that also we put on a lot of bikes, and so this rider, probably a very good rider, probably not looking to worry about that, probably not going to crash much, but I run the Enduro plate on my bike, or a Flex, because I do fall down. This is a Fastway Pro Moto Billet end cap. This is the new generation. It's lighter, and then it's got some nice finishing touches on it. Stock muffler, that's really a good choice if the rider is predominantly riding more technical and slow speed stuff. So that would favor maybe gear 1 through 3 or 4. And then if you are favoring more high speed stuff, 5 and 6, 4, 5, 6, then maybe a wide open muffler might be a good choice. And that muffler, we retain the internal resonator, and that's for sound and that lower end performance. So that's a good look. We went with the Core. These are the IMS Core foot pegs, stainless steel. They're absolutely aggressive, super strong. You will not break those pegs, bend them, or damage them in any way, and they have a nice sharp point, and so that will grab into your boot really well. Notice in here that we put some heat shielding around the rear shock, and we see that that's about a 50% reduction in heat. So when this section, the transit section of the mid pipe, is in the 300 degree range, this here is reliably in the 150 degree range, and that will promote longer service life for your shock oil. And if you're not riding high speed, so if you're riding any slow speed technical stuff, that's a nice thing to do. Just wrap that up, and it'll extend the service life of your shock oil. And we put on an X-Trig. That's an adjuster so he can set his sag very easily. Tacomoto oil filler cap. And then notice on here, over here we've got Samco hoses. These Samco hoses all come with upgraded hose clamps. And then notice that we put on a heat wrap. So there's so much heat. This header pipe here can get anywhere from 400 to 700 degrees depending on conditions. And that is a lot of extreme heat that is just less than an inch away from your radiator hose here. So we heat shield wrap that, and that does a nice job of keeping that heat out of the coolant and then just protecting the vulnerable hoses there. Also to point out while we're here is we've got the Emperor Racing radiator guards. We are just a big fan of these because it's a single piece design, and there's just no better or stronger or more reliable radiator guard out there. P3, we love these guys because they make a nice pipe guard. It's nice to have a pipe guard because it does protect it from dings. It'll also aesthetically, as that muffler, as this header pipe here, as all of this steel, it will tarnish and absorb some colors, some mud, and there's some staining that'll happen on that over time. And so if you've got a really slick looking carbon fiber guard over that, you won't see it. And also protects your pant leg from if you've got out of boot pants like enduro, maybe rain pants, something like that, you will often find that there's burns, your pants will burn into that. And so this will prevent that. They do a great job. with that stock gas tank, he may opt for a larger tank later, but for now he's got that stock tank. That means he's probably going to be doing some rides somewhat close to the truck. Notice up here TM Design Works on the lug guards. We like these because they are very light and they do a fantastic job. And so these in combination with that STR fork, the rotor guard do a great job. And then back here you'll see that we have an STR as well. Bulletproof Designs provides these rear axle adjuster lugs. And let's see if there's anything interesting under the seat here. Seat Concepts, we love their seats. This is a standard width. This is comfort, and it's I think this is a standard height. So the thickness here is about the same as stock, but then you've got obviously significantly wider area back here as well. So back here under the seat, we've got the Get ECU system, tacobout Get ECU. And then we've upgraded this to the anti-gravity 8-cell battery. That's really the ultimate battery, and you have to do a slight modification to be able to fit that in there. We've got a standalone video that talks about how to do that. Also note that we've put a hose clamp on the fuel line here. If you're running a stock tank, it can be easy to reach in here and to get a hold of the quick disconnect on the tank. But if you run anything bigger, then that often gets blocked out, and so you have to move your fuel tank, your hose clamp. You do that up here, and so we cut off the single tab ear clamp and do that. That just is a nice touch for serviceability. So that's probably a wrap on this. Maybe the last thing I'll talk about is, maybe one other quick thing. Here in the Airbox, we talked about that electrical system right here. That's our kit that provides lighting power, and then also not lighting power but accessory power up behind the headlight. Something that probably I don't mention often enough is a PC Racing filter skin base gasket. So this is a neoprene rubber seal that goes around the opening of the air filter box, and then this allows us to install a filter without any grease, and it promotes just a 100% reliable air filter seals. So the filter seals incredibly well to the opening. And then here on this one, we've got the Twin Air. This is their Pro Series filter cage, and there's no warping. So that's really the advantage of that. There's myths out there that by getting rid of this air screen, so the stock cage has a backfire screen, and there's a myth out there that by getting rid of that screen, that promotes any additional power or performance, and that's 100% myth. And so we install this not because it's screenless. We install it because it's metal over plastic, and it's like I said, it's going to be warp free. And so that's something that we do. And then notice here that we have the filter skin on that goes over the top of the air filter, and that is so a pre-filter essentially means that your filter underneath is protected from that first run, that first layer of dirt, and then we bring these with us on rides, and so we'll swap these out maybe once a day, and you'll have a remarkably clean air filter underneath that, and that's pretty amazing. And I think the last thing to mention is the fact that on these new bike builds, we do an engine break-in on a dyno. So our tacobout in-house dyno, we will do very controlled conditions to break that motor in with loading under accel and decel, to seat the rings, to do a very, very thorough and complete break-in cycle. And we'll do that and then change the oil. So when the owners come to pick up these bikes, they've already been broken in, they've already been pre-sorted, and the oil has been changed, and we run a very high-spec oil. We'll typically use a MOTO 7100 or something like the Maxima Pro Plus. And those are, again, very high-spec, ester-based, Group 4, or Group 5, rather, based oils. Super premium, the best stuff out there. So these bikes, once the riders get a hold of them, they're ready to go. Sometimes we've got riders who will come in, they'll fly into Vegas, they'll grab their bike, and then they'll ride out from here, maybe go on a BDR, hit the Nevada BDR, Arizona BDR, maybe Southern California. So it's a pretty nice program, and you're welcome to hit us up, and we'll give you any information that you like about it. So that's it. That's a wrap on this bike. It turned out really well, and I'm super pleased with it. If you have any questions, again, hit us up in the comments. You know how to reach us. Thanks so very much. Like, subscribe, go out, get some adventure.